Well, Robert, first things first, you and I have known each other for a long time, and I can tell you exactly when we met, but how did you first get interested in racing?
Well, a good friend of mine worked for Richard for Petty Enterprises for years, Wade Thornburg.
Okay.
And he was raised not very far down the road from where I was, from where I'm at now. And I used to go up to the shop with him and just, up there some. And then through business dealings, we rented some equipment to Dick May, which I think's passed away now.
Okay, all right.
And Dick was he was in charge of putting up the big balloons for STP and for Winston, I think, and so he invited me to go to the races with him a little bit, and I just kind of took a liking to it. So I finally told Wade one day, and he told Dale Inman that I wanted to be on the pit crew. So Dale kept telling me he didn't think I wanted to be, and so finally he called me and said, you still think you want to be on the pit crew? And I said, yeah, I do. And he said, all right, we're going to put you on the pit crew.
Put up or shut up.
We're going to Daytona this year, and that was in '86. So I went to quite a few races before then, but not in a capacity of helping with the pit crew. But so anyway, that's where it started. It was Daytona of '86, and I was the catch can, done the catch can for gassing, and I guess it just went from there.
So you are the definition of what it means to be a weekend warrior, basically.
That's pretty much it. Yes, it was just my hobby. I don't fish. I don't hunt. I don't play golf. That was just my weekend hobby, was going to the races, and I enjoyed it.
Now, tell me about your business. I know that you have R&H Motor Lines,
right,
and it's been in your family for a long time.
It has. My father and I started it in 1969.
Wow.
We've been 52 years now. Then as my two younger brothers finished school, they came into the company. So of course my parents are passed on now, but two brothers and myself, we own it's a truck and trailer leasing company. We lease out mostly trailers. We have about 2,500 pieces of equipment.
Wow!
And so it's been good to us. We've worked hard at it. We put in a lot of hours, but it's been good to all of us.
So 1986 is your first year actually helping out on the pit crew, and not only are you on the pit crew, you're actually going over the wall.
Yes.
How much practice did you have before then?
Not much. We've went up to level cross to the shops, and we practiced some, but it was pretty well just kind of learn as you go, I guess, on the job training.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. And that was the first year that Petty Enterprises opened back up.
It was.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. What was that dynamic like for it to be back up and running?
It was pretty awesome. I'll have to say in '86, you got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Going to the races, anywhere you stopped to go in to eat, and anywhere you went out to eat, it was Richard Petty. So we were wearing STP uniforms, so it was pretty awesome.
And then you get people coming up to you in the pits asking you if you can get Richard Petty's autograph. And
yeah.
I can't imagine somebody doing.
And you've got your name on your shirt, so everybody comes up, hey, Robert, and you're trying to figure out, do I know them or do they know me? So you don't want to be rude to anybody, because you don't know whether they're a fan or whether they're the president of STPs. So you got to be nice. So
you go to Daytona that first year, and Richard Petty comes in pretty hot because that's before pit road speeds. How nervous were you that first stop?
Oh, probably so nervous I probably couldn't have told you my name if somebody asked me. Yeah. It was a learning experience.
How long did it take you to get comfortable in that role?
I don't think more than just a few races. I mean, you're always, I guess, I don't guess you ever got over being a little keyed up at every pit stop. You kind of, I guess your adrenaline's flowing, and you're always pretty well keyed up at the time. But it got to where it was just kind of second nature. I mean, you just knew what you had to do.
Now, were you doing that full? I mean, were you on the road for every race?
Every race, yeah. I went to every one of them. I mean, I decided when some of the weekend crew, didn't, but I decided when I committed to it that if I was going to do it, I was going to go to every one of them.
So what was your schedule like? I mean, because you're flying cross country and going to Riverside at that time, and you're going to all the races, but at the same time, you're also running a fairly substantial business. How difficult was it to manage all that?
Not too bad, because if I wasn't in the office, my brother was. So as long as one of us was pretty well there to do it, and I was always back by Monday morning, unless we had a rain out and had to stay over somewhere. I would usually, of course, the tracks closer by, we drove to them. The weekend, the race day crew, of course, would go on, on Wednesday, Thursday, whenever they had to be there. Then we would all leave level cross in a van morning of the race, anywhere from 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock on, get to the track. The tracks that we flew to, anywhere that was any distance, we flew to them on Sunday morning. Most of the time, I would come back on the truck, on the transporter, because of, I guess, my experience of driving. So I would help their driver bring the transporter back.
Okay.
So a lot of times from the tracks far off, Michigan, Pocono, Talladega, those tracks, I wouldn't get back, to level cross till 4, 5, 6 o'clock on Monday morning, and of course I would just head on back to the office and be at the office.
So you would go straight to the office?
Most of the time, yes.
Wow.
Don't know how productive I was, but I was there.
So you kind of touched on it before we started recording, but your first job in racing is what a lot of people would consider to be a dream job. You're working with Richard Petty. What was it like working with him and getting to know him a little bit?
Well, I mean, Richard was always, great to be around. I mean, he always treated everybody fair, and he would treat the fans, I think, probably as good to the fans as probably any of them, as far as signing autographs or taking time with them. And of course, that's probably what got him where he was at too. So the fans is what with the fans, he wouldn't be there. None of them would.
Now, be honest. How big a distraction were fans at times?
Yeah, they could be. It's just that was just part of it.
Okay.
It just kind of went with the territory.
So you served as the catch can man, right. 86, 87,
88.
88. 88 got off to a pretty exciting start with the Daytona 500. What do you remember about that day?
Well, and maybe it's been too many years ago. I don't.
That's the one where he wrecked so bad and flipped. Yeah.
That was pretty scary. I really didn't know what was going to be the outcome of that. So,
Could you see it from where you were?
Just not real good. No,
Okay.
No. And the thing about that wreck, in the month earlier, they had went to Daytona and tested, and so I flew down there just to see what a test station was like, and Richard took me about 4 laps in the car.
Did he really?
We averaged about 100, I think about 186, 188 mile an hour lap, and I was just sitting in the right hand floorboard with holding on the roll bar and the window post, and I'm thinking after that wreck, I'm thinking, man, if that had happened when I was just sitting in the floorboard, that'd have been all it would have been for me. But
now, did you have a helmet or anything?
no helmet, no anything.
Yeah, that would have been something. I bet
NASCAR, the officials weren't real keen on him taking me out, but he told him, said, "No, I'm gonna take him a few laps." So.
Hey, it's easier to ask forgiveness than it is permission. That's
Dale
my
Emmons
motto in life.
Dale Emmons said I was crazy, but
You speak of Dale Emmons. What was your relationship with him like?
Dale and I were good friends. We still are. I still talk to Dale a lot, and my wife and Dale's wife Mary, they're real good friends. They talk almost every week. So
yeah, I
always really liked Dale.
So, 1989, you become the gas man. How did that happen? How did that work out?
I can't exactly remember why the gas man we had wasn't going to be doing it anymore, but Dale just asked me, did I think I could I handle it? And I said, I think I can. Apparently I couldn't, but or anyway, it didn't work out well. But now that first race, I was a whole lot more nervous than I was the first race in '86.
Were you really?
Oh yeah. Yes, because I guess the gas man, the tire changers are pretty important jobs. So
yeah,
I knew there wasn't much room for error there.
So Atlanta that year, I think, was about the 4th race of the season, maybe 4th, 5th, somewhere in there.
Something like that.
Yeah. He comes in. What do you remember about everything that happened that day?
Well, I think we were actually running fairly well. I think we were running in the top 5, maybe. It had a pretty decent day. We were, maybe 60, 70 laps from the end of the race. It may have even been going to be I'm not sure whether that had been our final stop or not. But anyway, he made a green flag stop, and I can't remember. It seemed like he thought he had a vibration or something, so he decided to make a green flag stop. And he came down the pit road, pretty hot. We didn't have the pit road speed limits then, and maybe he run by me I just had to take a step or two backwards, and which it really wasn't anything unusual, and it but just a lot of things didn't go right. I didn't have the can quite squared up with the side of the car. It sprayed some gas out on me, and but what it was a header. Something was wrong with the engine, and it backfired, and it blew a ball of fire out the header pipes. And of course, the pipes at that time were run out the driver's side on the driver's side of the car, so they were just right, beside on me, just a foot from me. So just all the wrong circumstances come together at the right time. So and it just went up in a ball of fire, and I remember thinking, I've got to get rid of this can of gas on my shoulder. So I threw it out on the pit road to try to get it away from the fire, away from where I was at, and away from the rest of the crew, car, and everything. And luckily the can didn't catch on fire. It didn't explode or anything, but we had a fairly significant fire there on the side of the car, pit road, and all.
Were you conscious through the whole thing? I mean, do you remember the whole thing?
I do. I just remember trying to get out of out of the fireball, and I got back over the wall. I was on the ground. I got up, and I guess what they teach you in school, stop, drop, and roll. I didn't remember that because I was just running, trying to get away from the fire, but trying to get the uniform off of me. And of course, it seemed like it lasted forever, but it was some, some video and pictures I had been taking. It was, from the time the fire erupted till they got it out wasn't like 17, 18, 19 seconds or something, but it seemed like a long time.
Yeah.
But I was conscious. I really didn't realize how bad I was burned. The medical personnel was kind of on top of me always, in a hurry. And I know the doctor out of the trauma center, the infield care center was there, and they had me on a stretcher. And as they were rolling me toward the infield care center, I remember some of the paramedics or someone asking that doctor said, are we going to be taking him to the hospital in Atlanta? And he said, we're going to take him to Georgia Baptist and get him stabilized, and we're going to be flying him to Humana Burn Center. And I'm thinking to myself, man, am I hurt that bad? I mean, I just, the feeling hadn't come back yet.
Right.
I did not realize at that time how bad I was.
I was sure shock would be involved.
It was.
Too.
Well, by the time they got me in the infield care center, and I remember Dale Emmons told me that he asked the doctor in there, was I dying? Dale thought I was dying in the infield care center because I was in shock. But they had given me so much to knock me out then. I don't. From that point on, I don't remember very much about it. Not much at all, because I remember they flew me from there to Georgia Baptist, got me stabilized.
Georgia Baptist in Atlanta?
In Atlanta, Georgia Baptist Hospital in Atlanta, and got me stabilized. And then they flew me from there to Humana Burn Center in Augusta, Georgia. It's probably 150, 60 miles away, and to the burn center there. And luckily, I guess if it was anything lucky about it, that was supposed to be one of the top 2 or 3 burn centers in the nation. So I was fortunate in that aspect that I was at a good place. Stayed there 33 days, and had several surgeries. Had burns second, third degree, mostly third, on about 38% of my body. So I had a lot of surgeries.
So where was it located, basically?
Mostly, I had some on my neck, my arms, chest, some on my stomach. Most all my burns were on my legs, my waist down.
All right.
So I had, like I said, maybe 3 or 4 surgeries for skin grafts.
Now, you were talking earlier, you did have a fire suit on at that time?
I did.
Because that was kind of out of the ordinary even then.
I almost think that we may have been the only team that was using a fire suit. We had used it the year before. And I don't know, we just sent them, I think, to a regular cleaners to be cleaned. And, it was no fault of anybody's. Nobody wore them. Nobody knew, I guess, the procedure for cleaning them or treating them. But the fire got the fire got on the inside of my suit. My suit wasn't. You would think that the suit would have been burnt off on me, but it wasn't. It was charred. I mean, it melted my headset cord that came down across my chest. It melted it completely to my uniform and all, but it didn't disintegrate the uniform. It was still intact, but the fire was on the inside of it too, so it was charred on the inside and out. But and there again, I don't know. I'm sure it still provided some protection. I don't know. I may have been burned a lot worse if I had not had it on. So that's just something I don't know. But
so your wife's name is Jeannie.
That's correct.
She spells her name with 2 N's. My wife spells her name with 1 N.
Okay.
What was her reaction? I would assume that she came down as
she did.
as soon as possible.
She did. I think she was actually at her parents' house, and was coming back to our house, and she heard it on the radio, and so she was listening on the radio, and so she went. I think she went straight to my parents' house, which was almost next door, and they said they didn't think it was me, and Jeannie said, yeah, it was me that got burned, and and it wasn't just a little bit that the doctor from the infield care center called, and Dale called, Dale Inman, he called and told them, and so they pretty well just got packed and headed to Augusta.
Yeah.
My daddy used to tell her that there was 2 miracles that day, that that I survived the fire, and he told her she had 15 minutes to pack to be gone for 30 days. And so anyway, she got packed. I think there was a neighbor or two helping her throw stuff in the suitcase. I think she got to Augusta and didn't have to pay for what she wanted, but anyway, we made it. They had I think some of Petty's people was already in Augusta, and they had accommodations already set up for them. The hotel across from the hospital, Pontiac dealership, which of course Richard was driving a Pontiac at the time. Pontiac dealership in Augusta. They had them a car there already.
No kidding. Wow.
Had them furnished them a car the whole time they were there. So they drove down. There was 1 or 2 of them. Felix Savalas, a team or 2 offered to send a plane to Ashbar to get them, but I think they decided by the time
they waited,
flew from Atlanta up here and back to Augusta and all that. It's only a 4-hour drive, so they could drive down just as fast. But there was quite a few of the other teams offered assistance.
So you're in the hospital in Augusta.
That's correct.
And you're dealing with the surgeries and recuperating and all that. What was your mindset during all that time? Were you sedated? Were you cognizant of what was going on, or how was that month in the hospital? What was it like for you?
Well, I was fairly aware of everything that was going on. I mean, it was every day. You went to put you in whirlpools to get dead skin off, and of course all your grafts were stapled on, and then they're taking the staples out and they're doing more grafts. So they're pretty well on you all the time. But I pretty well remember. I mean, I remember everything pretty well. I was on a lot of morphine, but I still pretty well knew what was going on.
So when you got out of the hospital, did you come back home, or did you go to a rehab facility here?
I came home. They took my wife, and I had to have the dressings and all changed every day. They give her a kind of a crash course in dressings, and they wanted to know what I was coming home to, the facilities, how sterile. Sheets had to be changed every day. I couldn't have really a lot of company around close to me because of infection. I had to make, over the next year, I had to make several trips back to Augusta, and then they lined it up with the local hospital here for me to go there to keep check on all the burns to make sure there was no infection and all. So it took. The next year was, it was a lot of hospital visits, a lot of rehab, a lot of changing bandages. But I was, I was back in the office after a few weeks. I'd come back to the office, but and I think the first race maybe back was. Not doing anything on the crew, but I went back to the race. I think the fall race at Charlotte maybe was the first time I was back at the track. So
Now, did you go to every race from there on out, or was that just a visit?
That was just a visit.
Okay.
I went to a few of the closer by races just to be going,
Yeah.
and then starting in the 1990 season, then I started back full time going all of them.
Being involved in racing obviously cost you pretty dearly. Was there ever a point in that year or so where you said, you know what, I'm just a weekend guy. I don't need to be messing with this. Was there ever a point where you were at least considering walking away and not doing it anymore?
No, I don't think so.
Or was your wife considering it for you?
She may have been considering it. I don't know how much she voiced her opinion, but no, I don't think so. I really didn't give it any thought that I wasn't going to go back in some capacity, do something.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to be back, if they had a spot for me.
So when 1990 did roll back around, did you go to them, or did they come to you and say, are you ready? Or did you go to them and say, I am ready?
Well, I mean, we stayed in
Okay.
basically constant contact all the time. I mean, you know, I was up there quite a bit, and, you know, Richard and Dale were, you know, they had been to the house and, you know, down here, and we were in contact all the time. So it really wasn't like I'd just been gone and, you know, here I walk back in the door and say, do you want me, can I come back with you? But I think it was pretty well just kind of a given that, I'm going to be back if I can.
Now, when you did come back, what were you doing?
I didn't go over the wall and get in the car.
Why?
I kept lap times, clocked the car every lap, kept lap times, figured fuel mileage, clocked the pit stops, and whether we kept record, whether we'd done two tire change, 4 tire, that I probably held the clipboard and the stopwatches and stood on the stool. So.
Was there ever a point where you maybe had, I don't want to say PTSD or flashbacks or anything like that, but did you have to kind of talk yourself through some of those pit stops?
Maybe not the pit stop as much, because I wasn't right there, over the wall. There was it took 2-3 years to get past the fear of fire.
Yeah.
I mean, we, I didn't even like fire in the fireplace, or I was terrified of the gas logs. We had fire extinguishers here at our business and our homes. You weren't more than 20 feet from a fire extinguisher anywhere you were at. I mean, we ought to have owned stock in the fire extinguisher company, because we put fire extinguishers everywhere. It made me a lot more conscious of that. It took me a few years to get over it. Then I guess when I did, I made it an about face. I had been involved with the fire department in the business end of it for a few years. Then I actually just joined. I've been a volunteer fireman now for years, and I'll have to say I've not been in a lot of burning houses, but I have been in some in training fires. And first one, I mean, my wife was terrified, and I was too. But I said it's something I got to do. I've got to get past this mental block that I've got about fire. I said I've got to go in, and I've got to get past it, and it helped me. And I'm not, I don't have that fear anymore. I mean, I'm really safety conscious about fire, about anything that could be harmful to anybody. But I see I see a lot of dangers in them and things that I didn't used to see. But
after your fire, after your accident, pit crews got a lot more conscious of that happening because, I mean, you and I both know that you can find pictures from the 1950s and 60s of drivers in T-shirts
Oh, yeah.
and pit crew members in crew shirts and uniforms and stuff. Did anybody come to you and talk to you about the safety stuff after that? Or did you make a point to go talk to people or bang that drum in any way?
no, not really. I think it all just kind of took care of itself. I think as soon as we had that fire, I think it opened a lot of eyes, and I think that about all the teams immediately started ordering fire suits for
Jerry
their-
Punch started wearing a fire suit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so he was right in our.
Yeah.
He was right in our pits. They were filming our pit stop actually. So, all of them started wearing fire suits. I think that maybe Simpson, I think, was maybe the main one at that time that provided that, and I think they were just flooded with orders maybe. But they. I think it pretty well took care of itself.
I don't want to over dramatize the point, but is that your legacy? Is that your contribution to the sport?
Well, I've never really thought about it that way, but I guess you could say that. I mean, it's hopefully it's maybe. I know it's helped in the safety standpoint of the sport, and it's probably hopefully helped someone else from going through what I went through. I mean, it's one of those things you don't know, because I mean they did make a lot of changes. I think it was right after that they run the exhaust out the right side of the car to get it away from the side where you're fueling, and the gas, both people with the gas had to wear, and then it wasn't but just very long after that anybody that went over the wall had to wear a fire suit. And so I guess it's kind of like the old saying, somebody has to get killed at an intersection before they put a stoplight up. It's kind of like that. It's just I think it finally opened a lot of eyes, as to what could happen.
So you start back on the pit crew in 1990, and you go through 91, late 1991, Richard announces his retirement tour the next year. Mm-hmm. What was 1992 like in the fan appreciation tour?
Well, it was, I guess, a whirlwind, kind of. It was, everywhere you went, it was, a big fanfare. I mean, it was, everybody wanted to see him, and of course, the media focused on him a lot because it was his last year, and Richard had won a lot of races and championships, and so it was. I guess you'd have to say we got a lot of attention.
How long did you stick around? I know that you were still there in 94, 95?
Yes. 90, I think went through 98.
98?
Yes.
Okay.
98.
Now, were you there when Bobby won?
Yes.
Yeah. Were you really? Yeah. What was that like?
Well, I'll have to say I never went to Victory Lane with Richard, but it was it was exciting. It was good. It was I stayed through 98. It was and it wasn't any particular reason then. It was just, I guess, I'd gotten older and just I think I had the first grandchild on the way, so it's just circumstances, and of course, we got a lot busier in our business, and so it was. I just felt like maybe it was time. Dale kept telling me, you still go to any of the races you want to, if you want to just go to some of them or part of them. But there again, I just felt like if I didn't want to be there and just be in the way. If I wasn't going to be there and serve a purpose, I didn't want to be there and be in the way, because there's enough people in the way as it is without me adding to it. But, and I went to several races. I went to several races since then with. I'd go up and go with Richard and Dale to Martinsville and some of the closer races around. Went to several of them. I haven't been in a few years, but it's racing's changed a lot.
Well, I got to say, what happened to you has certainly not impacted your love for the sport or for Richard Petty. This is the most awesome collection of Richard Petty stuff I believe I've ever seen.
Well, maybe I had an inside track. I could get some of it. So I've got a few things that's pretty neat. I've got the set of spark plugs that he run in Atlanta. I put his Richard's last ride, so I made that stand for him. And I got a lot of neat items, I think, that's kind of unique. So
when you come in here, do you feel a sense of ownership in it? Because a lot of people have Richard Petty collections, but not everybody has the connection to it that you did. What do you think of when you come in this room?
Well, it brings back memories. I've still got every uniform I had, every golf shirt I had, everything. My wife told me before, she said, you probably could sell some of that. I said, well, I don't really want to. I don't know why. I'm just attached to it, and I want to keep it. Don't wear it, but I want to keep it. So.
Well, when you start listening to her, give me a call.
Okay. I will. All right.
I want to be your first call. Well, Robert, is there anything else that you'd like to get across?
No, I don't guess so.
Okay. All right.
It was enjoyed all the years that I spent doing it, and don't regret any of them.